Royal Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings, and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wildin' in the stand. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gon' be our year. We're here, drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring, yeah.
This just in, the Kings suck. It's official. Welcome back to Royal Rebounds. What's up, Kings fans? This is the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans by fans.
Welcome to another episode of the Royal Rebounds Podcast. I'm Calvin. He's Barry. As Barry said, the Kings still suck, but we're still here. Breaking it down, 133 to 127 loss to the Milwaukee Bucks today. What's up, everybody? Good to see you guys in the chat. Gothan, JN, Dennis, welcome back. Let's drink. Let's have a nightcap.
Let's go. We're here, we're drinking beers, and we're talking about your Sacramento Kings. That's delicious. What's up, Dennis? What's up, Makami? Welcome back, guys. This is your Sacramento Kings Nightcap. If you're a Kings fan, make sure you smash up that like button down below. And if you enjoy awesome Kings content like this, hit that subscribe button as well. All right, Cal. So Kings lose tonight, 133-127 to the Milwaukee Bucks. De'Aaron Fox is a late scratch after having a sore ankle during warmups. We see Tyrese Haliburton back. Giannis is also scratched. He played yesterday, and he had some knee soreness, so he missed the game. The Kings officially lost 8 out of the last 10 games. And we talk about how good of a road team they've been earlier on in the season. They haven't won a road game since December 1st at LA.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple of months. They actually got off to a pretty nice start in this game. They came out shooting very well. They shot very well for the game. I mean, most teams, not in Sacramento, when you shoot 53% from the field, 41 almost percent from three, you have 58 points in the paint, you have 29 assists. Most teams win those games. Not Sacramento, though.
Yeah, I'm checking on this Niners-Packers game. It's pretty close.
It's a very tight game.
10-10 with a minute less. Wow. That's... Hi, Wendy. Good to see you. I'm glad you made it home safely. Calvin and I had an awesome time golfing yesterday and drinking some of the Trulies you left.
Yeah, thank you very much for that.
And we actually just got back into reality. I was in VR after the Kings game playing some poker and some blackjack, and it's pretty wild. You guys should get Oculus. If nobody has Oculus here, you guys should get one. Hopefully we could broadcast on the Oculus soon, right? That'd be pretty cool. All right, Cal, so I want to hear your first thoughts on the game.
Well, my first thoughts, as I mentioned, the Kings played another very solid offensive game. Terrence Davis is playing his best basketball of the season. It was great to get Tyrese back. He had another good game. Harrison Barnes had a fantastic game today as well. But, again, it just doesn't matter. If you don't play defense, I mean, this game really came down to three-point shooting. The Bucks shot a whopping 50% from three, 21 of 42. They were also 22 of 25 at the foul line for 88%. The Kings, other than turnovers, really, they won every statistical category in this game. Points in the paint, rebounds, assists. I mean, it just comes down to guarding the three. And the Bucks are a great team at playing inside out. Usually Giannis is a big part of that. They're really good in transition. They love to post up. They're good, willing passers out of the double team. They get a lot of open looks from three. The Kings are not a good team defense in terms of rotations and things like that. So they got wide open looks at the basket all night long, and they knocked them all down.
And they have a championship pedigree that they achieved last season. They are missing their best player, but I'm starting to see some consistency here from the Kings. The best player is out for the other team, Kings lose.
Well, unfortunately, the Kings don't win a lot of games when the best player is playing either. But again, they squandered some really, really good games here. If you look at the box score, I mean, Tyrese had a great game. 24 points, 12 assists, 6 boards. Terrence Davis, another 20-point game, 22 points. Harrison Barnes, 29 on 11 of 18 shooting. All 5 starters in double figures. The bench was a big no-show for them tonight.
Yep.
But 127 points is enough to win most games. But you just have to play defense, too. It's kind of required in this game in order to win.
Do you like this starting of Terrence Davis? I mean, you talked about no production off the bench. We've seen him play incredible as of late, coming off the bench. He did start when Tyrese was out, but do you like starting him? Do you feel like he's the right guy if you're missing a guard?
Yeah, I mean, him and Buddy Hield, I don't think there's really a wrong choice there because both guys, are very similar type players. It really handicaps them defensively, though. Terrence Davis is a nice, young, athletic player, but he's really undersized in a lot of these situations. He was matched up with Middleton a lot tonight. Middleton absolutely had his way with him and Buddy Hield out there, which was one of my keys to the game going in, not knowing that Giannis wasn't going to play. But, I felt like Harrison Barnes was going to be the guy on him most of the night. But what were the Kings going to do when Barnes was on the bench or if he was guarding somebody else? And so I don't know if there's really a wrong or right answer between starting Terrence Davis or Buddy Hield because both of them have been very, very streaky when it comes to shooting the basketball. Luckily, Terrence Davis is riding this good wave right now. And, you figure if one of them is starting, the other one should be able to come off the bench and get you that production that you need from your bench points. But the problem is both of them can have these over games, basically. I mean, Buddy was 2 of 11 today. So,
yeah, I think a big thing for the Bucks in this game is the bench production. 35 points off the bench for them tonight, along with 0 turnovers. That's pretty much all you can ask for as far as guys coming off the bench and doing their best. But, yeah, Sacramento just hasn't had enough. As you mentioned, 6 points for Buddy Hield tonight, 2 of 11 from the field, 2 of 7 from three-point range. What do you think is going on with Buddy Hield?
I mean, it's the same old Buddy to me. We could be here a week from now if he doesn't get traded, and he could have 2 or 3 games in a row where he scores 24 or more points. He shoots really well from 3. And at this point, I don't know that anyone will really be jumping on the bandwagon of, we need to keep Buddy Hield in Sacramento. Mm-hmm. But, people will kind of fade away from the dogpiling on top of him because at least he's shooting well and scoring points. Another week goes by, we're back in the same position. I mean, this is the story of his career. It's yeah. I don't want to say it's like clockwork because you don't know when he's going to turn it on and when he's not, but you know what to expect from him.
He shot lights out in a game in this last week, and then he's just kind of dropped off since then. I think inconsistency might be his middle name. Yeah. But I want to talk about my guy Tyrese. We've been talking about his fit, with De'Aaron Fox and all this, and then we also talk about guys that miss games and come back and we give excuses. We say, he didn't play bad. He just came back from COVID. He needs some time to get back in. Tyrese didn't need any time.
No, he did not.
First game back
just happens to be in his home state, gets to play in front of his family, has his high school jersey retired the night before.
Yeah.
Good timing.
24 points, 12 assists. I don't like the 4 turnovers, but I'll take it on the 12 assists. To me, he's shown that if he's running the point, he could be a 20-10 guy easily.
Well, I'm glad that you brought this up because I did a little research while watching this game today because the Kings' different offense is noticeably different when De'Aaron Fox doesn't play. And I mean their style of play. I think it was JN on our last podcast. He said I was more of a Fox fan than I am a Haliburton fan. So I want to give a little love to Haliburton, show that I do really appreciate his game as well. The guy is a much more complete point guard, and I feel that the rest of the players on the Kings team are better suited to have good games when De'Aaron Fox isn't in the game. And that obviously makes sense because De'Aaron Fox is an isolation player and tends to, his usage is really high and he holds the ball for a good portion of the game. In the 5 games that De'Aaron Fox has not played this season, the Kings averaged 24 assists per game. They average just around 21 per game when he does play. Harrison Barnes averages 20 points a game when Fox does not play and Haliburton is running the point. That's the difference. I mean, you could see it just in Harrison Barnes' play tonight. He's cutting to the basket, tons of backdoor cuts, got a ton of layups off those. You're not going to make those moves when De'Aaron Fox has the ball a lot of times because, A, you're going to get in his way. He's just trying to get to the rim.
Yep.
And B, he might not be looking for you in the first place. So it's a very big difference. I mean, you still have to play defense in order to complete the cycle. But yeah, that's
17
what I mean
points
for everybody.
in 25 minutes tonight.
Terrence Davis, you can say the same thing.
Yep. It's more of a team ball, I guess, when Tyrese plays. And he's been shooting incredible, man. Those step back threes that he's taken from deep, and every single time he shoots, I'm like, oh, it's in. It's in.
Yeah.
He's just been playing out of his mind, and I think he deserves a lot of credit, especially, first game back, played 38 minutes. Unfortunately, the Kings don't get a win, but, when we were talking about this game coming up, nobody expected the Kings to win this game. Like, let's be real here. We all thought they were going to lose. After the game, I'm like, Kings suck, and Calvin's like, hey, they were in it. They were within 6. Not that there's a moral victory here, but I'm just saying the fact that you're missing De'Aaron Fox, you're playing the reigning champs. Yes, they're missing their best player, but the Kings were in this game. It's not like they got blown out.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like I said the other night after the Detroit game. If the final score of this game was 133-131, I would feel much, much happier about it or better about it than if the final score against Detroit is 133-131. Yep. We almost had that exact scenario here.
Yep, Niners win 13-10. Congratulations. Wish my Rams luck
happy that
tomorrow.
Aaron Rodgers lost. That's all I'll say.
And Ethan is stoked on the Bengals.
He's had a good day.
Yeah, he paid the bar tab. I was happy about that. So it happens when you win 20 G's, I guess. All right, are you done going over the box score here?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Anything else that jumps out in team stats? I know you're talking about the Kings dominated in most of those categories.
All it is really is 3-point shooting. I mean, that's free throws obviously hurt them. The Bucks shot a lot more free throw attempts and they converted on them. The Kings have somehow regressed back into a team that is not is a below average free throw shooting team, just 62.5% today. But other than that, they did everything they needed to do to win this game. 14 turnovers is not great, but you can overcome that when you have almost 30 assists and you shoot lights out.
Yeah.
Almost, because you still have to stop the other team from scoring.
And, turnovers for me are a very important category just in the fact that it shows the difference between a good or a veteran team and a team that's young like the Kings that make a lot of mistakes. You're just going to – they doubled you up in the turnover category. 7-14, Milwaukee takes care of the ball. They, I guess, cherish the moment, and they know how important every single possession is.
Yeah, 100%. And I love this comment here in the chat because it's something that we've talked about before in the past. I agree. The Kings are not a team that can afford to switch all screens. It puts them in a lot of bad positions. They do not have enough versatile defenders who can guard, 2 or 3 positions apiece. And, their guards need to fight through screens more. It would help them a lot because they're bad at scrambling. They're bad at recovering to open 3-point shooters, as we saw time after time today. It's a very good comment, I think.
Yeah, what's up, Gothan? Good to see you. What do you think about Bagley? Only 5 rebounds tonight, but he shot 50% from the field. I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I liked what I saw from Marvin Bagley tonight. I think that they were definitely early on. I think maybe out of the first 10 possessions, they went to him 5 or 6 times in a row. And that's probably a result of De'Aaron Fox not playing either. That maybe Tyrese felt like, all right, I'm going to get this guy going here early on. No Giannis in the game, so maybe he's got a little bit of an advantage inside. And due to the fact that Giannis didn't play, the Kings really took good advantage of being able to get into the paint and score, something I did not think going into this game that they were going to have that easy of a time with. 58 points in the paint is great against this Milwaukee defense. So, yeah, you said it, only 5 rebounds. But, again, I thought he was he was solid overall. I like the little, he's trying to take more of the, maybe 8 to 10 foot, kind of like a half jump hook shot, which is available for him a lot of times. So if he can knock that down consistently, that's going to be something they can really use.
Yeah, he's definitely been working with Rashawn on that one. And as you mentioned, points in the paint were huge tonight. We saw Harrison Barnes cutting to the basket pretty often. 29 points in 39 minutes. I love what I saw out of HB tonight. He was shooting the three well. He was just playing good overall basketball, and that's something that, I feel like has been lacking from this roster since the first month of the season, where he was playing lights out. We hear rumors just the past couple of days about how Harrison Barnes and Rashawn Holmes are now on the trade block, and we'll talk about that in the next section. But we got to give credit where credit's due. We're critical of guys when they don't play well. Even though the Kings lost tonight, I love what I saw out of Harrison Barnes.
I agree, 100%.
You want to jump here into your keys for the Bucks game?
Yeah, number one was everyone commit to rebounding. Again, Giannis didn't play, so kind of had to take it with a grain of salt a little bit. But the Kings won the rebound battle. 13 offensive boards. They had 48 overall for the game, so you can check that box. Number two was, can they stay hot from three? The answer was definitely yes in that regard as well. Unfortunately, this third one they did not have as good of a time with, and that was containing Chris Middleton, which I thought would be, I don't know if it's easier to necessarily do it if Giannis doesn't play, but he's just such a really overall smooth player, gets to his spots so easily, and that was the thing today. You can't, if Terrence Davis or Buddy Hield is on him, I realize that it's difficult. They're giving up a lot of size, but you can't let him just walk the ball down into that low post area. He loves to play out of that range. He's got a great fadeaway, willing passer, like I said, which is why they got so many open looks from three. And he can shoot over these smaller defenders too. So they had a really hard time with him tonight. 34 points for Middleton on 12 of 20 shooting.
Yeah, Kings fall to 18-30 on the season. They've officially been passed by the New Orleans Pelicans and now occupy the 12th spot. Only 3 teams below them now. It's really depressing to say. And the Kings are actually the third team in the Western Conference to hit that 30 losses. Not looking good, Cal. Not looking good at all.
Unless you're hoping for a really nice high draft pick, then it's looking better.
Kings are spiraling out of control. As I mentioned, they have now lost 8 out of the last 10 games. They're having issues with health. We felt like finally they're going to be all healthy now. De'Aaron Fox is a late scratch during warmups, which is weird because like 10 minutes before that, they said there's no injuries to report and everyone's going to play. Tyrese is back. And then all of a sudden, De'Aaron's out, and they say, oh, it's not serious. It's just a little bit of ankle soreness. He tried to go, and he couldn't. Do you look into that anymore, or?
No, I don't really. I mean, I don't think that there's going to be any lingering effects. Who knows even how hurt he is? Maybe he just didn't feel good before the game. And, I mean, you see that for a lot of big-name players throughout the season.
Yeah,
like Giannis tonight. I mean, if you don't feel 100% or up to playing, you're on a back-to-back or something like that, go ahead, take the day off. We'd rather have you, healthy for the next week or so.
We have a light week of basketball. There's only like 3 games this week.
Yeah.
But McCammy's got a good point here. Gotham says is resting him for a trade.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, there's a bunch of ways that you can look into that. The NBA is a lot like, ever since load management became a thing, it's kind of like how everybody is at work now. It's like if you don't feel good, just stay home. Nobody wants you. You don't have to fight through an illness or an injury or anything like that anymore. It's the same thing goes for an 82-game basketball season. If a guy says, look, I just, I'm not 100% today, feel like I should just rest it, be back the next day and ready to go. And that's how teams operate nowadays.
Right. Seems like this is the new NBA. Otherwise he could have said he felt like he had a tingle in the back of his throat or some sniffles or something like that. Goth, and I'm hungry as well. That sounds bomb. So Cal, Sean wants to know, he said, if Hallie would have shot more, Kings win. How do you guys feel about Hallie not shooting or attacking enough?
Well, first of all, I don't know that you can necessarily say if he shot more, they would win this game because, like I said before, if the other team's shooting 50% from three and you don't have a hand in their face ever, you're going to have to score 150 maybe to win this game.
And a lot of those shots were just swinging the ball around, and the Kings were just late on the rotation.
Wide open. Or two guys are right in the middle of one person, and you don't have good communication on who stays with the ball. They both end up leaving, wide open three. But as far as Hallie, not shooting enough or attacking more, I was totally fine with the game he played today. 14 shots, sure, maybe, you want him to shoot a little bit more, but he took 8 threes. He had 24 points, and you have to look around at the rest of the team. He had 12 assists. Harrison Barnes is that his season high? It probably is, 29 points.
No, he had over 30 early on in the season.
Well, it's very close. Terrence Davis has another 22. I mean, Rashawn Holmes has his best offensive game since he's come back. Mm-hmm. The Kings offensively, they did more than enough to win this game. They just didn't play defense.
Yeah, you look at it, Hallie's third on the team in shots. He's got double-digit assists, second in free throw attempts. I think he was pretty aggressive tonight. I mean, yes, you can always say I want my best player on the court to be more aggressive. That's always true. But I'm not going to knock him for not being aggressive enough tonight. He wants to know, he said, this is why Kings need Fox. Hallie don't attack.
I mean, again, I'm not sure I really agree with that. Like,
and that's another thing.
If your point guard gives you 24 points and 12 assists every night, every team in the NBA will take that.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
And that, I want to build off of another point that Calvin made earlier, is the fact that guys are cutting to the basket and they're open for these cuts like Rashawn Holmes and Harrison Barnes. And that's because Haliburton is not in the middle clogging the lane, and he's allowing those guys to do that, or he's playing off of them. De'Aaron Fox may attack the basket over and over and over again, but he doesn't allow those other guys to operate down there.
Yeah, I agree. And still, at the end of the day, it just – you're not going to be a competitive team in this league if you can't play defense. Like, I don't. You could average 130 points a night, and you still are going to be an average team because you're just going to continue to give up tons of points all the time. So there's more to it than just Hallie has to attack. That's the answer to solving the problems, and that's how the Kings win these games.
Yep.
There's so much more to it than that.
I mean, if you want to play the easy game like that, Kings need to play better defense. That's pretty much what needs to happen. We're going to talk about trades here in the next section, but I'll just touch on your question real quick. Jug says, start Tyrese at the point guard, Fox at the shooting guard, move Terrence Davis to the 3, and then he wants to move Barnes and Buddy for legit 4, and he thinks they'd be a lot better. I think that the Kings do need a legit 4, and that's very, very high on their needs list. And we'll talk about this a little bit more in the next section. My concern with Fox at the shooting guard position is he doesn't shoot the ball well enough. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter putting Fox or Haliburton in the 1, 2. They're so interchangeable. They switch on defense. They're both going to be handling the ball. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but I'm not a fan of the small ball lineup, and I don't know about Terrence Davis at the 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key point to that statement is that they need a legit starting power forward. I totally agree with that 100%. I do think that Fox and Tyrese are pretty much interchangeable. I don't think they view it as one's the point guard and one's the shooting guard. They're just two guards out there. Mm-hmm. The problem is the style of play. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's how do you maximize both of what they're good at within the course of a game, because they both need the ball in their hands a lot in order to do, and it's for different reasons. De'Aaron is just going to continue to put pressure on defenses by attacking the rim, all that stuff. Tyrese can affect the game in so many different ways, but he still needs the ball. He's good. He's a good scorer. He can create his own shot. Great 3-point shooter. But he also, like we saw tonight, is the better facilitator. He can run more of a real team offense to a higher level, I think, than De'Aaron Fox can right now.
Yep.
And so that's it. It's not that one's the point guard and one's the shooting guard. It's how do you play as a style and as a team all together. And I agree with you too that small ball overall, I just don't think it works for the length of an entire season and then into the playoffs.
Yeah. And, tonight was just one game. I see your comment here, Sean, that it exposed why they need Fox. It's just one game. I mean, I could argue and say they need Haliburton. They're 0-4 without Tyrese this season. They're 1-4 without Fox. But I don't know if you could say, honestly, that this game exposed the Kings and showed that they need De'Aaron Fox. It exposed them and showed that they need more talent on this team. Like Fox not playing is subtracting talent from the team. It's not a matter of whether Fox is available or not. It's that you have that position of value. If you were to trade Fox and get other guys, maybe that would help contribute, or if Fox could contribute. But when you're missing your best player anyway, it's not good for your team. I don't think it exposes anything.
Yeah, you're right. The team just needs more. I think in all the games this year where we've seen either just Fox play, or just Haliburton play, and I'm not saying that anybody in the chat is suggesting this right now, but the narrative all season long has been when one of those guys is out, people look for reasons why the Kings should either trade one or the other one of them. Mm-hmm. But the problem, or one of the biggest problems for the Kings, is that they don't have anybody else really around them. And yep. I think style of play also comes into that as well. And you can argue whether the two of them really work together to make the best style of play for the team. But it's not just, well, we can get rid of Fox or we can get rid of Haliburton. You need a lot more than that. You're going to have both of them plus another guy probably. So,
yep. The guys that are on this team need to get better, and we need to bring in more guys as well. Because, I think when you're 18-30 on the season, you say, oh, this is the game, guys. This is the game that shows that we're exposed and we need more. Like we've known we've needed more for a long time, and hopefully Monty can find a way to address that. Man, I just can't believe another loss, Calvin. It's not looking good for the Kings. It's not looking good at all. Man, it's crazy. The Bucks. Any other thoughts on this game? You want to talk about Marvin? I see some people talking about Marvin in the chat.
He's had a really solid season. I mean, he's not like – I agree with McCamey here. He's improving, and he's still really, really young. I'm still on the fence of whether or not the Kings should keep him. I think that he still has – potential to be better. I don't know what he's eventually going to become. I don't know what prime Marvin Bagley looks like necessarily. But
healthy Marvin Bagley.
Well, that too. But I do think that on a good team, he could be a very, very useful piece. But that's, again, the problem is this isn't a good team. They need more stuff around him, and it might have to come down to, in order for them to take that next step and improve the roster, they might have to give him away.
And, I've really liked what I've seen out of Marvin. I love the second jump. I love the athleticism. I love, him just getting down in there and getting dirty and banging inside with some of those big guys. But the unfortunate part is he doesn't do it all the time. I don't know if it's a health issue. I don't know if it's schematics. I don't know if it's an issue with him or confidence or just motivation. When your team is 18-30, how motivated are you to potentially injure yourself and, be playing with some of these big guys inside? Everyone talks about, how point guard is most valuable or hardest position, but these big guys, they sacrifice their body every game. They're inside getting hit. I remember I read Shaq's book. He had a traveling masseuse that would travel with him and massage him every day, and he'd have huge bruises and all these injuries from just getting elbowed and pushed and bumped all game long. When you're a guy like Marvin who's a little bit skinnier, you're getting beat up inside. So I think he needs to be a little bit more consistent. Maybe being on a winning team, maybe being around winning players would motivate him a little bit more. But I do love when I see these flashes from him. He just needs to be a little bit more consistent. And I really hope that can happen here in Sacramento. But like Calvin said, maybe you need to give him up to get some better players. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they are in a tough spot here. I don't know what, like Charlie says, the free agent market, I'm not so sure what the Kings will be able to do if they don't get something in return by a trade for Marvin. Maybe you could still re-sign him in the offseason, but I think that's a bit of a gamble as well, given everything that's gone on with him since he's been in Sacramento. He might just decide, I want a fresh start in a new place anyway. It's a difficult question to answer there, really.
Yep, I agree there. All right, Cal, anything else you want to talk about with this game before we move on?
I think we can wrap this one up.
I mean, the bottom line here is the Kings are not a good team right now. They need to make some changes. We keep saying this over and over and over again. I think we're like 19 days now from the trade deadline, so it's going to happen really soon, February 10th. Hopefully, we're not underwhelmed like last season. I'm not advocating to just make a trade or to make a bad move, but the team needs to get better. We talk about choosing a direction. We're hearing now about Monty, Fox, Haliburton being told they're going to stay, stuff like that. We're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into your Sacramento Kings and talk about some trades and fun stuff like that too.